it all starts with the season opener between the Lakers and the Clippers. I mean, talk about a delicious piece of filet mignon to start things off on the 22nd of October. We're 3 weeks away from that. Is this the most wide open season you've covered in the NBA?
Oh, this is Adam Silver's dream. He and David Stern before him, dreamed of one day having NFL level parity. That has always been something that the NBA has aspired for, to start a season where there are 6, 7, 8 teams that legitimately believe they can win a championship. And I think you have that, maybe more than that. Maybe you go into double digits of teams that could conceivably win a championship. The breakup of the Warriors changed everything. There are no super teams out there anymore. There are no 3 superstar teams out there anymore. It is a league of duos right now. And as we sit here speaking, I don't know which duo is the best. I mean, you look at what Paul George and Kawhi could be. You look at Russell Westbrook and James Harden. You got 2 former MVPs playing down there. I mean, eventually Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant down the line. This is exactly what the NBA, LeBron and AD, and the Lakers. I mean, I always say, the Clippers going to be good. And I said this to Rob Pelinka just yesterday. The Lakers are the most interesting team in the league. If I was living in LA and as a national guy, if I'm flying back to LA, I'm occasionally watching a Clipper game, but I'm covering the Lakers. There is I picture the most dramatic television show you've ever seen and double it, and there's the Lakers, with the potential for craziness that could happen in that team.
What? Give me.
Well, I mean, look, you've got a new coach in Frank Vogel. You've got an assistant coach there in Jason Kidd, who everybody kind of thinks wants to be the head coach. You've got LeBron trying to work it out with Anthony Davis. You've got LeBron and Frank Vogel. Do they wind up on the same page, or does Frank wind up like David Blatt or Mike Brown or some other guys that haven't survived, working with LeBron?
He hasn't coached a game yet, Frank.
Exactly. That's what it is. But this is what I'm talking about. There's so much stability within the Clippers. There's none of that with the Lakers. They have the most variance of any team in the league. They could win a championship this year. They could also miss the playoffs this year. I think both are realistic.
And LeBron is coming off his first non-playoff season in forever.
And his first significant injury in his career.
So he could be rested or rusty or any of those. I mean, it really is something else. And you also have Chris Mannix here on the Rich Eisen Show. You also have Utah, what Utah's been able to do. You also have Denver running it back. You've got Portland getting healthier. Are we missing anybody here? I mean, we've got the Spurs. Who knows what that might look like? And then there's the Warriors, who, by the way, would be maybe the most dangerous 50-win 6 seed in the history of a playoff. I wouldn't want, I've said it over and over again here, Chris. Imagine either of these Los Angeles teams putting it together to the point of 58 wins, 57 wins, 60 wins, right? And then there is maybe a 2 seed or a 3 seed, depending on where they fall and all that. After all of that, who strolls in for game 1 into Staples for a first-round series but the Golden State Warriors? No, thank you. Right?
I think they are a sneaky candidate to win the whole thing this year. I do. I really do. I mean, it all depends on Clay, right? When does he come back?
Right.
How does he come back? How long does it take him to get back to being the old Clay? But the ACL injury isn't what it used to be. I mean, the foot injury, the Achilles injury, these are more serious injuries for players. An ACL tear has become much more recoverable for a player. And Clay is not, I mean, he's a great defensive player, but he's going to shoot threes a lot on that team. They get D'Angelo Russell, who was an all-star last year. They still have Steph. They still have Draymond Green. They got a group of guys that knows how to play together, and there isn't a super team out there. There's not this juggernaut that they have to be afraid of. If they can get their stuff together by April, I could see them getting back to the finals.
And then there's a Western Conference where Zion's going to stroll into the mix every now and then because that's
another sneaky good team out there. They didn't add Zion and say, we're going to spend the next 3 years rebuilding. They don't spend money. They added J.J. Redick as a shooter to a team that I think is going to be pretty good this year. There are no, outside of Phoenix, whatever the hell they're doing at any given time, or Memphis, which is just waving the white flag right now. Western Conference 1-13 is going to be a tough night out.
And then before I let you go, we got to talk about the East. What's going on there? Do you think is that a Sixers conference to win with the Bucks right now?
I think it's Milwaukee's to lose at this
Okay.
point. I mean, they were right there at the end in the conference finals last year, and they lost Malcolm Brogdon, but I think he's replaceable. He was great in the playoffs for them last year, but they added Wes Matthews and a couple other guys. I think they can replace Malcolm Brogdon. The question's going to be, is Chris Middleton the same player this year? Is he an all-star once again? And does Giannis take that next step? Does he become, if he can become like a 33% three-point shooter, it's a wrap. Like, they're going to win, I think, the whole thing. But he took a step back with his perimeter shooting that last year. If he continues to develop, I think they're the team to beat. Philadelphia's, they're huge. Like, they're the biggest team, I think, in the league with all their size, front court and back court. But they lost Jimmy Butler. Does Ben Simmons, can he become Jimmy Butler? Remember, in the playoffs, he was kind of in that dunker spot. He wasn't, given the ball to isolate. He's got to make shots too. Can Ben Simmons rise to the occasion and become what Jimmy Butler was?
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.